Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Next Gen Sports Talk. So, on today's show, we are obviously going to start with the big game on Sunday being Super Bowl 60, and then we can get into a little bit of MLB free agency, and then maybe talk about some basketball. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But definitely want to start off with the Super Bowl. That's definitely the most relevant topic in sports right now. That the Olympics, but I'm not going to go into all that because it's boring and don't know what to say about that. But let's start with the Super Bowl this year. Seahawks are heavy favorites for a reason. I think they are a much better team than the New England Patriots, even though I do want the Patriots to win, obviously, because I'm a Niners fan, and you can't root for the Seahawks as a Niners fan. Last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, we had a pretty memorable game. I'm not really going to talk about it all that much. My dad's a huge Tom Brady fan, so obviously in this house it went well. But Seahawks fans, not so much. Let's talk about this game, however. So let's start with the quarterback comparison, Drake May versus Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold is obviously not as good as Drake May, although 2 seasons now back to back, he has led teams to 14-3 records and the playoffs. Although this year he went to the Super Bowl, last year he was eliminated in the first round. But Drake May was an MVP candidate this year, and Sam Darnold, I don't want to say he wasn't close to an MVP candidate, but he wasn't really in the conversation. So let's just talk overall about these teams' performances in the postseason. Now, I think there is a big difference between the Patriots and the Seahawks. Let's start with the New England Patriots. I mean, their offense has not been looking too great. I mean, I don't really know what to say about it, but I mean, if you watch these games, their offense is not, they haven't looked sharp at all. And I get it. They played the Chargers defense, who's really good. They played the Texans defense, that's really good. And they played the Broncos defense, it's really good. But now you have to play the Seahawks defense, which is really good. So if you can't really score against what I think is the second and third best defense in the NFL, how are you going to score against, in my opinion, the best defense in the NFL in the Seattle Seahawks? And the Patriots' offense has not been great in the postseason. On the flip side, however, Seahawks' offense has been pretty darn solid. I mean, they only played 2 games so far. 2 games, 3 games? 2 games, right? They had the first round bye, yeah. They played the Niners. Don't really want to talk about that, but I'm going to have to eventually. And then they played the Rams. So starting with the Niners, they scored 41 points in that game. That's all you kind of really need to know. I mean, that's crazy to score 41 points in a playoff game, win 41-6 in the divisional round, which means it's not like a loser playoff team. They actually won a game, and they're a good playoff team. They were a playoff team this year. Get it, George Kittle got hurt, but they still scored 41 points. That has nothing to do with George Kittle getting hurt. And then that defense, I mean, allowing 6 points, even when the Niners don't have their best pass catcher on their team, is unbelievable. I mean, the Seahawks team is just so much better than the Patriots. Patriots defense has played very well this postseason. Against Houston, they forced a ton of turnovers. Denver, they only allowed 10 points. That was backup quarterback in heavy snow, so I don't really know how much you can really take away from that game. Still only allowed 7 points, though, so it's a plus for the Patriots. And then against Los Angeles, they had like 7 sacks in that game. So defense has performed in the playoffs for sure. There's waiting for Drake May to wake up a little bit, and this is going to have to be the game where he does that if they want a chance to win the Super Bowl. I mean, New England has the coach of the year on their team, although I think McDonald should have won it anyways, so I don't really know what to say about that either. I am going to talk a little bit about Stafford and Drake May in a minute, but before that, let me give you my full predictions for this Super Bowl matchup. Score-wise, I mean, just based on what I've been saying right now, I think you guys can tell it's pretty obvious. I have the Seahawks winning, and I don't really think it's going to be all that close. I mean, I think the Seahawks are just miles better than New England is. And I think New England is just not going to be able to keep up with this team. They're not going to be able to perform. It's just not going to happen. So I have the Seahawks winning in a big one, 38-10 Seahawks. That is my score prediction. And I really do think, I mean, obviously it's probably not going to be exactly that score, but I think it's going to be close. And I just got an ESPN notification saying Cat is out for tonight's game against the Pistons, so that's great. Just thought I'd mention that real quick since, I just got the notification. It's a little relevant news, whatever. So, let's talk a little bit more about just this game in general. I mean, imagine what would happen if Sam Darnold threw a pick on the 1-yard line again. That would be crazy. I would laugh and laugh and laugh. I don't think it's going to happen necessarily, but if it does, that would be unbelievable. Now, let's talk a little bit about some single game performances. Let's start with the quarterbacks in this game. So, Sam Darnold's over-under for passing yards is 230.5, and we are looking at ESPN for all these lines. 230.5, I think he's going to go over just because I think JSN will get open enough where he'll be able to just find him and keep finding him, and he'll eventually be able to get over that 230-yard mark. And then for Drake May, it's a very similar line, 223.5, so a little bit lower. It's going to be right around that, I think. It could go either way. I'm just going to take the under because of how he's played so far in the postseason. And against the best defense in the NFL, it's going to be really hard for him to find anybody, especially when Stephon Diggs is really his only weapon. Like, Keyshawn Bootie's not that good. Hunter Henry's okay. But other than Stephon Diggs, it's going to be really hard for these Seattle receivers to find anything for these New England receivers to find anything against this Seattle secondary. So that's kind of why I'll put Drake May on the under. But it'll be close. I think he'll be right around 215, 220 area. So let's talk about the rushing yards. Kenneth Walker, 72.5 is the line. That's a lot of yards. I mean, I don't think it's that hard, but here's the thing. They don't have Zach Charbonnet, so they will be relying on him a little bit more. But I think the Seattle offense is going to be somewhat pass-heavy against New England, especially since last game against the Rams, they were sort of pass-heavy in the second half, a little more run-heavy in the first half. But I'm going to take Kenneth Walker under 72.5. I don't think he'll quite hit that mark. And then for New England, you got the two running backs, obviously, being Ramondre Stevenson and TreVeyon Henderson. Let's start with Ramondre Stevenson. His over-under is 50.5. I think he can get over that. I don't know if he's necessarily going to get over that just because of how good the Seattle defense is. But 50 and 70 is a big difference. Yet, I get it. The Patriots are going to be sharing the ball between Stevenson and Henderson, but I still think Stevenson should get over that 50-yard mark. And then Henderson's over-under is 18.5. I'm taking the over all day on that. He can break one for 25 so easily in this game. He is good at generating explosive plays. I mean, again, this it's hard to get anything on the Seattle defense, but if anyone can break a big run, it is TreVeyon Henderson. So we're going to take him for the over. Really quick, let's go back to these quarterbacks real quick for the passing touchdowns. It's over. The over-under is 1.5 on both of them. I'm going to take the over for both quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, again, you have JSN. He'll get open enough where you'll have the ball in the red zone enough, and you'll eventually find that end zone, find that pass where someone will be open in the end zone. Probably going to be JSN at least once. So, yeah, Darnold will get over 2.5, and then Drake May over 2.5. I mean, he was the MVP candidate. He was an MVP candidate this year. I just think if they get the ball down there enough, Drake May will find a way to get in twice. I hope. I don't know. That's tough because here's the thing: 2 touchdown passes with less than 223 yards passing. It's tough to do. It is because that means you're really only getting in the red zone 3 or 4 times. But I think the Patriots are going to rely on the run a lot this game just because the Seattle secondary is so good. I mean, the line is good too, but the secondary is unbelievable, and they're going to need to find a way. So, but if they get down there, I think Drake May will throw it in twice. I do think it's possible. So, receiving yards, JSN 93.5. I can't take the under with him. He's been unbelievable offensive player of the year this year. Over. He's going to be over 150, I think, this game. And they're going to need him if they want to win this game. I mean, they're not going to need him as much as they did against the Rams because I do think the Rams are a better team than New England is. But JSN's going to get over that mark. Stephon Diggs, 45.5. They need him to get over 45.5 if they want a shot to win. That's what I'm going to say. They need him to get over that 45.5 mark. I don't think he's going to, though, just because, again, the Seattle defense is so hard. It's so hard to get anything on the Seattle defense. So we're going to take Stephon Diggs under 45.5. I don't love it, but that's what I'm going to do. And then Hunter Henry, Keyshawn Boutte, right around 35 for Kupp. Hunter Henry and Cooper Kupp, 35 for Kupp, 39 for Hunter Henry. I'll take the under on Henry and the over on Kupp. So, over under for Seattle points is 24.5. I explained this earlier. Taking the over, I think they'll score around 38. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think they're going to get over that 24.5 mark for sure. And then New England, again, explained this already. Seattle defense is just too good. They're good. Under 19.5 is what the line is. And then, so that's really it. That's all I really want to talk about for the Super Bowl this year. I don't really want to talk about, I don't want to get that deep into it, right? So, let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about some baseball, the best sport in the world, in my opinion. I don't know how many people can really agree with me on that, but that's just my opinion. So, let's start with Tarik Skubal because he had his arbitration yesterday, I believe. No, today's Friday. It was decided yesterday. He had his arbitration on Wednesday. Obviously, Skubal won the arbitration, and players right now so far are 5-0 in their arbitrations. Skubal, it's a lot of money, yes, but I'm not shocked that he won it. He's the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. A little bit better than Skeens. I think Skeens will have a better career than Skubal did, in my opinion, just because he won a Cy Young his second year. He's not even in his prime yet. Prime for pitchers is tough to decide, but I think if he keeps developing his pitches, keeps getting more spin on the balls, where he already has crazy spin rates, but if he can keep getting more and more spin, Skeens will be better than Skubal. And do I think either of these guys are going to get traded this year? I'm going to say no. And here's why. I'm not going to start with Skeens yet. Let's start with Skubal. The reason I don't think Skubal is going to necessarily get traded is because they just signed Framber Valdez. I think it was 3 years, $115 million, if I'm not mistaken. But the Tigers are not they're not selling. I don't want to say selling because that's more of a trade deadline thing. They're not they're being sort of active in free agency right now. I mean, I get it. That was their really only their I can't talk. Their only big signing, but still, Valdez was a top 10 free agent this year. I think that's fair to say top 10. And they made a move, so I don't think they're going to really. I think the Tigers could get over that hump this year, and they're going to wait one more year on Skubal at least. Skeens, I just think the Pirates are going to ask for too much, and I don't know if any of these teams are really going to give up young, crazy prospects for him. Yeah, that's really the only reason I don't see Paul Skeens really getting traded this year. So let's talk a little bit more about these free agent signings and trades that have been made, starting with Cody Bellinger, because that's the first guy who popped into my head, really. Yankees re-signed Cody Bellinger, obviously. I think they needed to do that in order to be competitive this year in the American League. The American League's not that good, so I kind of get why the Yankees didn't really try to get any better this year at the deadline in free agency. But I don't know what they're sort of trying to do, because yeah, they were good last year, but they weren't a World Series caliber team by any means last year. So they're really not doing much, and I think the Red Sox got better, who the Yankees almost lost to in the postseason yesterday. So I think the Red Sox are better than them now. Seattle's still better than them. Toronto's still better than them. I think Detroit's better than them. Cleveland, I think, is better than them. So I don't really know. I think Baltimore's also better than them this year. So if the Yankees want to win, they got to start doing a little bit more than just running it back every year and hoping for something different. They're not going to fire Boone. I'm just going to say that. They're not firing Boone. But, yeah, they just need to do more, I think. That's it. They just haven't done enough yet. Next one, let's talk about Kyle Tucker, just because it's the Dodgers and everybody hates the signing. If you're Kyle Tucker, I don't understand how you turned down a deal like that. That's like $60 million a year, which is insane. But for the rest of baseball, it sucks because the Dodgers are just so good again, and it seems like it's not fair. And me personally, I don't love the idea of a salary cap in baseball, but I think it might just need to be done because just because these super teams, it's so hard to win. For an underdog to get over that hump, for anybody to get over that hump when these 4 or 5 teams just keep spending and spending and spending. I don't think it's fair necessarily. And I don't think anybody really thinks it's fair. So yeah, Dodgers are not going to be my World Series pick this year. Video on that coming out soon. By the way, full baseball predictions before the season starts. They're not going to be my World Series picks, but I don't know if it's. I'm a little lost for words right now about how unfair this is. Let's talk about the Mets now, because as we all know, they were criticized at the beginning of this free agency for not re-signing Pete Alonso, which I think we knew was going to happen. Not re-signing Edwin Diaz, which was a little bit of a shock, but of course he went to that team out there in LA who just gets everybody. But they've been excellent. Their team, I think, on paper is better than it was last year. And now if they don't make the postseason this year, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Just because I don't understand how when you find yourself an ace finally, this pitching rotation, honestly, I don't think it looks too bad because they found themselves an ace in Freddie Peralta. They have Nolan McLean, who could be an ace caliber pitcher. And then they're going to need David Peterson. He's going to be what he is. Clay Holmes will be okay. He was decent last year. He's going to be whatever. And then they're really going to need either Manaea, Senga, or Tong, one of those three pitchers, to be good. And then they will definitely be better than they were last year. And then in the bullpen, they signed Luke Weaver. They signed Devin Williams. This team is better than they were last year, and I don't think it's close with that Bo Bichette signing. So now you got a little bit more of a bat out there at third base, and then you got Polanco at playing first. This team on paper is much better than it was last year. I don't know why. I don't want to say much better just because Pete Alonso does make a big difference. But this team is better than they were last year. I'm trying to think of any other major free agent signings since the last video, and I don't think I can really think of one. So I'm not going to get into the NBA because you'll make fun of me for talking about it just because I don't really know much about the NBA. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.